We all know that depending on our date of birth, we are assigned a zodiac sign, which, according to astrology, can influence our personality and destiny. But have you ever wondered where the name of each sign comes from, or why they are represented by certain animals or figures? Well, today is your lucky day, because in this video, we're going to explore the mythological origins of each of the zodiac signs and how the Greeks integrated them into their world and worldview. The origin of the zodiacal signs dates back to the astrology and astronomy of ancient Greece, although it all started much earlier, in civilizations such as Babylonian and Egyptian. The Greeks took this system and adapted it, giving it the form we know today. Back in the 5th century BC, the Greeks began to adopt Babylonian astrology, a system based on 12 zodiacal signs that aligned with constellations visible in the sun's path across the sky. By incorporating the zodiac into their culture, the Greeks added a touch of their own, integrating their myths and legends into each sign. So, when we talk about Aries or Sagittarius, for example, we are actually talking about characters and creatures from Greek mythology. Then, the Romans took this idea and made it their own, and that is how the zodiac has come down to our days. This system is not only still alive in modern astrology, but also remains present in astronomy, helping us to organize and understand the night sky. And so, over the centuries, the zodiac evolved from an astronomical observation tool to what we know today. A system that, for many, influences our way of being, our tastes, and even our decisions. Although some see it as a simple curiosity and others as a spiritual guide, the truth is that the zodiac has maintained its relevance over time. Today, those 12 signs continue to be protagonists, each with its own history, personality, and connection with the cosmos. So, without further ado, let's explore the mythological origin of each zodiac sign. Aries. Aries, which is Latin for ram, is the first sign of the zodiac and marks the vernal equinox in the northern hemisphere. In the first version of the myth, the ram is sent by Nemesis, the goddess of vengeance. She listened to the pleas of Nephele, who asked for a way to save her children, Phrixo and Hele, from the machinations of her stepmother Ino. Ino, resentful and cruel, was plotting to murder Nephele's children and had planned a deception to carry it out. In response to these perverse intentions, Nemesis decided to send a divine ram with a golden fleece to rescue the children. Phrixo and Hele mounted the winged ram and set off on an aerial flight to escape from their wicked stepmother. However, in the midst of their escape, Hele lost her grip and fell into the strait that later bore her name, Hellespont. Despite this tragedy, Phrixus arrived safely in Colquide, where he was welcomed by King Aeetes. In gratitude to the king, Phrixus sacrifices the ram and offers the fleece to the king, who consecrates it to Aries and hangs it from an oak tree in a forest dedicated to the god, guarded by a huge dragon and surrounded by fields where huge wild bulls graze. In gratitude, Zeus placed Aries in the night sky. In the second version, it is Hermes, the messenger of the gods and god of commerce, who hears Nephele's desperate plea to save her children. Taurus. The zodiac sign Taurus, represented by the bull, is the second sign of the zodiac. In Greek mythology, this sign has a direct connection to the supreme god, Zeus, and is associated with various mythological stories and depictions. One of the best-known legends linking Taurus to Greek mythology is the story of Zeus and Europa. In this story, Zeus is captivated by the beauty of Europa, a Phoenician princess. To approach her without being recognized, Zeus transforms himself into a beautiful white bull and mingles with the herds of Europa's father. The bull's noble and calm nature attracts Europa, who, enchanted by his gentleness, decides to ride on his back. Seizing this opportunity, Zeus flees to the sea and swims to the island of Crete, where he reveals his true identity and maintains a union with Europa, giving birth to 3 sons, among them Minos, who would become a famous king of Crete. Subsequently, to honor Europa and her encounter with Zeus, the image of the bull was placed in the sky, giving rise to the constellation Taurus. Gemini. Gemini is the third sign of the zodiac and is represented by twins. In Greek mythology, these twins are known as Castor and Pollux, sons of Queen Leda. Although they had different fathers, Castor was the son of King Tyndarus, while Pollux was the son of Zeus. The story of their birth is quite particular. Leda was seduced by Zeus, who had transformed himself into a swan. That same night, Leda also became intimate with her husband, Tyndarus, king of Sparta. Castor and Pollux grew up together and shared many adventures, becoming a symbol of brotherhood. They were known for their bravery and skill in battle. Castor was skilled in the handling of horses, while Pollux was a great pugilist. As fate would have it, only Pollux, being the son of Zeus, had the gift of immortality, while Castor was mortal. When Castor died, Pollux was heartbroken and asked Zeus to allow him to share his immortality with his brother. Zeus agreed and transformed the brothers into the constellation Gemini so that they could be together forever. Cancer. Cancer in Latin is the generic word for crab. The history of the constellation Cancer is linked to one of the most famous exploits of the Greek hero Heracles, specifically his second labor, which was to slay the Hydra of Lerna, a many-headed monstrous serpent. During his battle against the Hydra, Hera, who resented Heracles, sent a giant crab to distract him and help the Hydra. The crab bit Heracles on the foot, who struck it furiously, killing it quickly and continuing his fight against the Hydra, which he also defeated. As a reward for his attempt to fulfill her command, albeit unsuccessful, Hera decided to honor the crab by placing it in the sky as a constellation. Thus, Cancer represents loyalty and sacrifice, although its role in the story is relatively small. Leo. In Greek mythology, Leo is associated with one of the 12 labors of Hercules. The lion of Nemea, a virtually invincible creature with a skin that could not be penetrated by any weapon, was a menace to the region he inhabited. As one of his 12 labors, Hercules was charged with slaying this lion. After an arduous battle, Hercules succeeded in strangling the lion and subsequently used his claws to skin it, dressing its skin as invincible armor. Zeus, impressed by Hercules' bravery and skill, decided to honor both the hero and the lion by placing the lion's image in the sky, giving birth to the constellation Leo. Virgo. The sign of Virgo, representing the Virgin, has many mythological associations, but one of the most prominent is its link to the Greek goddess Demeter, the goddess of agriculture, and her daughter Persephone, the goddess of vegetation. Persephone was abducted by Hades, the god of the underworld, and this plunged Demeter into great sorrow, refusing to allow plants to grow while her daughter was absent. The symbol of a woman holding an ear of wheat, often associated with Virgo, could be seen as a reflection of this story, representing both fertility and Virgo's connection to the earth and agriculture. Another common interpretation is that Virgo is linked to Astraea, the virgin goddess of innocence and purity. According to legend, Astraea was the last immortal to live among humans during the Golden Age, a time of peace and prosperity. However, as humanity became increasingly corrupt and violent, Astraea left Earth and was placed among the stars, symbolizing the purity and justice that once existed among humans. Now that we have reached the halfway point of our journey through the zodiac, we would like to invite you to press the like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our content. In addition, we encourage you to explore the videos we already have available, where we delve into the various mythologies that have fascinated mankind over the centuries. Libra. Libra is one of the few zodiac constellations that does not represent a living creature, but an inanimate object, the scales. The stories that support this sign are closely linked to divine figures that represent these principles, the most prominent being the Titan Themis and the goddess Astraea. Themis, endowed with far-sighted wisdom, was depicted holding a scale, the supreme symbol of equity and justice. Her vision of justice was not only a moral virtue, but a force that guaranteed balance and harmony in society and the universe. On the other hand, we have Astraea, the goddess of innocence and purity. Her story tells that during the Golden Age, an era of peace and prosperity, Astraea coexisted with humans, sharing with them her goodness and virtue. However, as humanity plunged into an era marked by violence and decadence, she was forced to leave Earth, a decision that signaled the end of a golden age. Although Astrea left Earth, her spirit and what she represented did not disappear completely. She was immortalized in the firmament through two contiguous constellations. Her figure became the constellation Virgo, and the scales she left behind became the constellation Libra. Scorpio. Scorpio has its roots in various Greek legends and myths. In one of the most prominent stories, it is associated with the hunt of the giant hunter Orion. Orion was such a great hunter that he boasted that he could kill any creature on Earth. This claim reached the ears of Gaia, the primordial goddess of Earth, who decided to send a giant scorpion to confront Orion. In a fierce fight, the scorpion managed to sting and kill Orion. Impressed with the scorpion's bravery and prowess, Zeus decided to honor it by placing it in the sky as a constellation. This is how Scorpius found his place among the stars. In recognition of the great battle, both Orion and Scorpius were placed in the sky, but at opposite ends, thus creating a relationship of eternal hunter and prey, with each endlessly pursuing the other. Sagittarius. Sagittarius, represented as an archer centaur, is linked to several mythologies, but we will focus on the Greek one where it is mainly associated with the centaur Chiron. Chiron was no ordinary centaur. He was wise, civilized, and kind, known for his great knowledge and skill with medicine. He was a teacher and mentor to many heroes of Greek mythology, such as Achilles, Jason, and Hercules. Unlike the other centaurs, who were known to be wild and chaotic, Chiron was just and wise. Chiron's connection to Sagittarius begins with a tragic story in which he was accidentally wounded by a poisoned arrow shot by Hercules, an arrow that was impregnated with the poison of the Hydra of Lerna, a deadly poison that caused excruciating pain. Despite his vast medical knowledge, Chiron was unable to heal his wound and was destined to suffer for eternity due to his immortality. In the end, however, Zeus offered him an escape from his pain, allowing him to give up his immortality. Chiron agreed, dying a hero's death and finally finding peace. To honor his wisdom and sacrifices, Zeus decided to place Chiron in the sky as the constellation Sagittarius. Thus, the archer centaur became a symbol of learning, teaching, and heroic sacrifice. Capricorn. In Greek mythology, one of the most prominent stories related to Capricorn is that of the god Pan. Pan was a god of shepherds and flocks, closely linked to nature, and had the upper part of a man and the lower part of a goat. A well-known myth tells that when the gods were attacked by the monstrous typhoon, they all transformed into animals to escape. Pan, in his attempt to escape, jumped into the Nile River and partially transformed into a fish to swim away. However, his transformation was not complete, leaving him with his upper body as a goat and his lower body as a fish. Despite the confusion, Pan played his flute and helped the gods organize to defeat Typhon. Another version holds that it was Zeus himself who transformed Pan into the half-goat, half-fish creature so that he could more easily escape from the monster. To honor his bravery, Zeus placed him in the sky as the constellation Capricorn. This sign represents resilience, adaptability, and the spirit of leadership in difficult times. In another version of the myth, Capricorn is associated with Amalthea, the goat that played a crucial role in Zeus's early years. Aquarius. In one of the most prominent stories, the young man named Ganymede was the most beautiful human on Earth. His beauty was such that he captivated Zeus. Zeus decided to take Ganymede to Olympus to serve as cupbearer, providing the gods with their drink. To do so, Zeus transformed himself into a giant eagle, descending to Earth and taking the young man with him. Once on Olympus, Ganymede not only served drink to the gods, but also became Zeus' favorite, earning a special place in his heart and in the divine court. To commemorate Ganymede and his service to the gods, Zeus decided to place him among the stars, thus forming the constellation and zodiacal sign of Aquarius, which is commonly depicted as a young man pouring water from a pitcher. Pisces. The history of Pisces in Greek mythology is linked to the monster Typhon, one of the most powerful and feared enemies of the gods of Olympus. Typhon was a terrible and gigantic creature. His size and power were so great that all the gods fled before his presence, transforming into different animal forms to go unnoticed and escape his fury. In the case of Aphrodite and her son Eros, the gods of love, they chose to transform into fish to quickly flee across the Euphrates River. To ensure that mother and son were not separated in the tumultuous flight, they were bound by a golden rope, which is the representation commonly seen in the symbol of Pisces, two fish joined by a rope or cord. Finally, Typhon was defeated by Zeus, and tranquility returned to Olympus. As thanks and commemoration of the successful escape and union of Aphrodite and Eros in their fish form, they were placed in the sky as the constellation of Pisces.